Hello and welcome back to Choice Bits of Bliss. If you're new here, my name is Cilla. If you're one of my old friends, thank you for coming back to visit and let's get started. Today we're going to talk about my plans going into 2025, and I'm going to go through what I've done with some of my scraps from the paper pad I recently used. So let's talk about 2025 first. I have been reluctant to kind of vocalize concrete plans because even though I have done fairly well at keeping those goals in mind and meeting those goals that I've set in the past, I'll be super honest and say it's getting old. It's getting old having this shadow over my hobby. I've got this thing that's always on the back of my mind that I've got to meet this certain goal, and this is my hobby. This is what I do for fun. Now, in saying that, I needed boundaries. I needed some structure because prior to 2020, when I came back to scrapbooking at the end of 2017, I at first was just using the stuff that I had from my past, but then I lost my mind. I just was buying doubles and triples of things because I thought this was the only time I was ever going to get it and I was never going to see it again. And that is true to an extent. But feeding those kind of thoughts with actions, it just creates this scarcity mentality that isn't healthy. It wasn't healthy for me. So I realize now fully every single year the industry is going to provide us, the designers are going to provide us absolutely beautiful product for us to create with. And if for some crazy reason the scrapbooking industry went away, I have enough supplies to last me and you for a while. A while. I am not in any way going to run out. I'm not. And so me feeding that scarcity mentality is really unrealistic. It's not healthy. And I am having to actively work out of it and to stop thinking and moving in that manner. So I wanted to come into this conversation with a more laid back approach to how I'm going to use my supplies and even include new supplies into my space. There are some triggers that I have to be aware of, and I honestly, in a kind of laughing realization, I had a conversation with Melanie at a creatively crafted life, and Nikki at Nikki's scrapbooking adventures. And when we were having our conversation, Melanie brought up that, sales kind of trigger her. And I thought, oh, yeah, me too. So when I see clearance prices and sales, it just calls to that part of me that loves getting a good deal. And getting a good deal on something that feels good and makes you happy, like this hobby makes me happy, that's a bonus, right? It's a bonus. It's another area in my psyche, in my thinking, that I'm having to address because I can't allow myself to go hog wild and overboard every time there's a sale. So I'm just having to uh, pull back and be more conscientious about how I approach purchasing. And that is okay. For me, for where I am in this season, it is to be expected. And it is okay. It's not a detractor, it's not a negative, it's just reality. So in that pulling back, I have especially on this channel, I have really made it a point to not do a lot of hauls because um I get it. For some people, hauls are triggering. Um Not always for me. Occasionally it can be, but it's if I'm if I'm being uh if I go, really think about through it, and I think it's mostly when I'm in that zone that I'm allowing myself to spend that someone doing a haul is like, "Oh, I can go buy that." That's when it gets to me. So, last year, I had pinpointed 3 occasions that I would allow myself to spend. I had chosen International Scrapbook Day, the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo in the summer, and Black Friday in the fall. So that's, spring, summer, fall, I'm able to get new products, the older products that are on sale. I felt like I had my bases covered. What happened in 2024 is that, yes, I spent during those 3 events. I used gift cards primarily. And then throughout the year, I still purchased classes and I still purchased my uh, scrap room kits that I get monthly, the flavors of the month. And I get Club EP when they have a collection that I like, that I want. So I have I have supplies coming in almost monthly. Well, I do have supplies coming in monthly. And I'm spending. And it's not about the money so much, it's just that in that spending, stuff is coming in. And I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm going to have to move my space this coming year. In 2025, my space is going to go down to very likely going to the first floor. So, moving through what I want 2025 to look like, um, I am still going to keep some parameters of not shopping so much, but I'm not really doing freezes, if that makes sense, because I'm just kind of tired of having that hanging over my head. Uh, I have been cutting back since September of 2020. That was the first time that it really became obvious I had gone overboard. It was September of 2020. My husband and I had just went through and added up everything I had spent on scrapbooking, and it was a very, very large number. And he said, "Okay, this is what you're spending. Let's put it in our budget." And I flipped out. I was like, "No, no, this is not going to be a constant. I cannot keep up with this because I don't use it fast enough to uh, to make that feasible, even though we could afford it. It's just not feasible. I would run out of space so fast that it's mind boggling." So I've had to change my thinking from money conscious to space conscious and figure out what I can fit in my space. And in speaking about space, when I pull out a collection to use, and this is something that not everybody agrees with, and it is probably confronting for some people when I say this, but when I'm playing with the collection, when I'm playing with the paper, I know immediately if this is paper that I enjoy working with and playing with and I want to keep, or if it's okay, I'm playing with it, I bought it, I really thought I would like it, I'm playing with it, I don't want to play with this ever again. I know immediately. So when I allow paper to leave, or embellishments to leave my space, I never think about them again. I've been this way for decades. I know for a fact I will never think about that piece of paper again. I will never regret it. Leaving the embellishments, when I let it go, it's gone. And that allows me to have space for things to breathe. Things come in, things go out. So it does not bother me at all when I start playing. And I have been playing more with collections because we've been doing collection obsession. I will continue, and this is a side note, I will continue a collection obsession in the new year because it helps me uh, focus, and it restricts the amount of product I have on my table, and I'm able to make a decision about it quickly. So I love collection obsession. Anyway, um, when I pull those out, as I said, I'm able to make that decision rather quickly and move on. And then I'm able to either shift what's in my space, because as I continue doing it, I'm creating more room. 12 collections is quite a bit, and that's what I go through in a year by doing the collection obsession. So that to me is valuable. And since I've brought up collection obsession, another thing that I have been thinking about is not in reinventing the wheel. I have, I started my channel and I felt like I needed to make my mark. I needed to show my value. And even though I started my channel with the purpose of using my audience as an accountability partner to use my supplies, since that time, my focus has inadvertently shifted, and I wanted to, I guess, show that value that I'm adding to this community. And that is also a burden that I don't want shadowing playing and creating. So that is going to shift for 2025 in that I'm just going to play with the prompts, the challenges, whatever is out there already in our communities. I'm going to play with those prompts. I'm going to continue doing collection obsession. I will play with my kits that I get each month. And that is how I'm going to share. I'm just going to be sharing what I'm doing and not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to leave that for people who have the time and the ability, and who this hobby or this industry is their form of making money. It isn't for me. This is purely about the joy of creating and having fun. So I'm going to have fun. That's the gist of this. That is my thrust and goal for this 2025, is to simply have fun and take a lot of the stress out of it. Okay, what in my space needs some work? That is the final thing I'm going to talk about. Um, I have some areas that I have got to address seriously. One of them is adhesive because I don't know the lifespan of adhesive, especially liquid glue. I don't know how long it will last. Like, does it go bad? Does it start growing mold? I don't know. And I have purchased like when I find adhesive that I like, I usually buy it on sale and I will purchase 2 or 3 of them or 4. And so I have these extras. And then I feel like I have to try the new stuff that comes out, or when someone else mentions it that they really like something, I feel like I have to try it. And I have got to address all of the adhesive that I have collected over the years. So there's that. And here's the funny thing. You know, I came back to scrapbooking in 2017. I took an 8-year hiatus. And since let's say 2018, because at the end of 2017, I really wasn't purchasing. But I'll tell you this, my adhesive still worked from stopping scrapbooking in 2009 until 2017. It still worked. It was good. So there's that. But in 2018, I started buying again. I don't know. It's crazy. I've got too much. I've got to address the adhesive. The next thing I have to address is embellishments. I have to do this in a way that fits what works for me. And it's like I said, embellishments. We'll speak about Teresa. Teresa loves embellishments. That for her is like, I use paper. I can sit down at the end of a really stressful day and I can flip through paper. It calms me. Embellishments are that way for her. So when I'm going through my embellishments, I can throw them away. It does not bother me. I can give them away and share them. Having duplicates of things, I don't want that. I just, and I'm realizing now that I'm using collections with Collection Obsession that there are so many embellishments left over when I finish a collection. Like when there's no more paper, there are so many embellishments left over. And if I love those embellishments, I don't mind adding paper in and making it go a little further. But you know what? So many times when I'm done, I'm done. And yes, it could go into new collections and I can remove it and I can keep shifting it. I just am at a place where I don't know if that's going to work for me long term, because I have dies, I have stamps, I have a silhouette and a Cricut. I can make pretty much anything I want to make to add to my layouts. And I have all of these embellishments. It's the muchness. It's the muchness of everything that is, it's overwhelming. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's overwhelming. So, yeah, I have to deal with the embellishments in a way that works for me. And I don't know what that solution is just yet, but I am working on it. Oh, the next thing is small paper pads. This past year in 2024, I have made a point to focus on these matte stacks. I have used up 3 and pieces of others. And I can tell you that when things are sitting on my desk and it's within easy reach to add to a layout, I gravitate to that. So I'm going to continue doing that. I'm going to continue working on those matte stacks. I need to work on the 6x8s and the 6x6s. I love small pads. I love the different scale in the prints. And I really, really enjoy small paper pads. So I don't want to just eliminate them in my space, but uh, I definitely don't need duplicates. I'll say that for certain. I do not need duplicates. So that is an area I need to kind of address. Uh, I have been sharing. I have a niece who does junk journals, and she has started doing like craft fairs. So I have been sharing some of my duplicates with her so that she can play with them. And I will tell you, knowing that supplies that I'm sharing with others is going to people who love this hobby, who love paper crafting, and will enjoy it, makes me so happy. So, so happy. That is just a different kind of joy. The joy of giving and sharing. Uh, like when I look at a piece of paper and I think, oh my gosh, I love this. And then I've got a friend or a loved one who is also looking at that paper, seeing ideas, ways to use it, even though it's very different from me. Makes me happy. It just gives me complete joy. So once again, does not bother me to get rid of it at all. At all. What I love, and what I want to keep, I'm going to keep it because I bought it. I bought it. What in the world? That is not even English. Because I've purchased it, but once I'm ready to let it go, I'm going to let it go. Just let it go. Okay. Let's talk about what I did with my scraps. So I still have from my paper pad, and this is an extra piece that I had added in. But from my paper pad, I still have these scraps. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking about doing. If you've not seen the Christmas tree that Paige Evans has created, she did it in a little 4x4 album first, but she took a 1/2 inch by 3 inch strips and she folded them like this, and then she made a Christmas tree. That's what I'm wanting to do. So I'm wanting to cut more strips so that I can create that Christmas tree. I think it is adorable. So I have that plan in mind. And then I have cut some snowflakes. They're not adhered down. I have more over here. Typically when I start die cutting, I just keep going until I use up what I had pulled out. And I'm pulling this out of the trash. But I had these 2 leftover strips that I had put in my scraps, and I just used them up. So I have additional snowflakes to use on later layouts. I wanted to show you this. I had mentioned when I did the paper pad share that these dies are a twofer. This is what you get. You get the outline, and then you get the letter. So you could run those through a couple of times and have the outline a different color. I mean, you could really dress this up. I just wanted the word Frosty. So that is my title. And then I sprinkled around some white snowflakes because I wanted to maintain the monochromatic look of this. And this is just through my upstairs windows after it had snowed. And I like that look, how the world looks through frosty windows. So that layout is completed, and I used all scraps from my paper pad. And then I have this base page that I love, and I want to use it sooner rather than later. I absolutely love this green. This is like, I love this green. I don't know what to say other than that. I just love this green. And I put in scraps. This is all scraps. I put it on a 12 by 12 white cardstock. And like I said, want to use this sooner rather than later. So that's what I've done with my scraps from my paper pad. Join in on the conversation. I know a lot of YouTubers are going to be addressing their plans for 2025. And I love listening to them, finding out what's on everyone's mind. My friend Teresa from For the Love of Paper Crafting has a video up already I believe Jenny from Scrapping with Jenny K is going to do a video. I think she mentioned she was going to do one. And I'm trying to think. I believe the Calling Creatives conversation between a creatively crafted life and Nikki's scrapbooking adventure. I believe they've got a video up talking about it. So out in the community, there's probably going to be a lot of videos. So join in on the conversation. We would love to hear your thoughts. I hope you have a blessed and happy new year. I hope you have a had a Merry Christmas, and come back. We will chat again soon. Bye-bye.